Yeah, worked for me.
Cool. The boys are readying up. "15 guys, this is a little concerning. However, I understand that no assists, it might be hard to fill the field every week, but...
We'll be fine. We've got a few... a few guys are out for legitimate reasons, so
Okay,
I'm not
good.
too worried about it.
Oh, that's cool. They let you guys know?
Yeah, believe it or not.
Cool.
Some people actually communicate. Other people just flake and ghost and don't say a word. And those guys will be replaced by the end of next week if they keep it up. All right, welcome everybody. We are live, Zenith Online Racing. We've been live for a few moments. I got that behind the scenes conversation there. We're doing a sprint weekend in Australia, so we're heading to one-shot qualifying. So guys get one lap. That will form the grid, and then we will do a 10-lap sprint race followed by a 28-9 lap 50% race. So we're in for a lot of racing action tonight, and hopefully everybody keeps it clean. We're going to be, well, somebody readied up. Did they even put a setup in, honestly? What were you doing?
Wow.
Unbelievable. Do we have to, like... How many times do we got to go over this?
Too many.
Jesus Christ.
So I did want to clarify. So the sprint, the one-shot qualifying sets the grid, and then what does the sprint race do?
The sprint race, no, the one-shot sets the sprint order, the sprint sets the 50% order.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I hope everybody had their setup saved.
Goodness gracious, yeah, that's unfortunate. That...
What, like, who's racing in Tier 1, who gets into the lobby and instantaneously hits ready up? Like, what are you doing? I'm sorry, but, like, what are you doing? Do you have setups? Do you even, like, what are you doing racing here? Like, I don't even understand how you could be ready that quickly if you have a setup to install. It doesn't even make sense. You guys have pissed me off very early in this broadcast. Please don't do it again.
Loving having you back as an admin.
It's unbelievable. Why is it saying restart? But I don't know if that... Like, do we have anybody that's just stopped at the back that's not going? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. Oh.
You know what? We'll see.
Go ahead.
We'll see at the end. We'll see at the end of qualifying if people. Yeah, we got Jinnick on round.
All right, Puff nailed that turn, whatever it is, like the last right-hander after the second DRS, and everybody's been complaining about that. It became quite difficult. Looks like Puff nailed it.
Well, Puff doesn't have a lap time, so I'm not entirely sure what happened there.
I just watched him finish. Oh, maybe, you know what? All right. I did not have my track map up, and there was a point in time I thought he might have DQ'd that lap, and I didn't have the map, so it's entirely possible that he did. Unfortunate for him. But he did, that doesn't change anything. He did nail that last right-hander after the second DRS. Brian Scott flexing his muscles. We don't have Packer today, unfortunately. This ought to be interesting because if I remember right, the rest of the pack is pretty tight. And as we look at the gaps right now, that's pretty much the indication I'm seeing. We got to go all the way back.
RC apparently didn't get a setup in.
Oh no. Oh god, that jeez. There's no way for us to figure out who readied up either. you'd have to be a driver sitting on the grid, just sitting there, I would imagine. Because I think that the driver's list is on your right-hand side, and it's got the circle indicator that waiting on them, and you would see the check mark come up with the first person to check in.
Yeah, it used to be like that, but we don't get that anymore, so.
Okay.
I think you'd have to like be a driver to see it. Like us as spectators can't see it anymore. But I'm making an executive decision. We're restarting it. It's only 8:08. We're gonna restart because that's just absolutely pathetic.
Yep.
I don't even know what are you doing league racing if you can't wait literally like do you not even 2 fucking seconds? 2 seconds to install a setup. Not even that. You just hit ready to go.
We didn't even get to chat about the race at all. We could not foreshadow the race. We could not discuss the possibilities and what we would be looking for. Just, yeah. And yeah. Yeah, getting back to the readying up. No, you probably missed that. It is the drivers on the track. They would have to be sitting in their car and on the grid, looking, and you would see on the right-hand side, you'd see the list of drivers. They would be the only ones that would be able to see who checked first. But presumably everybody is already in their garage trying to find their setup and their fuel and doing what they need to do. So nobody would... It gets rated up that fast, you're not going to be able to figure out who it is. So hopefully they come forward and apologize. Oh, my bad. I think waiting on... No, maybe not. It's just me and Beck left here. I need to leave the session. Dumbass. And to be realistic here, it seems to me... No, I don't want to see this. Remind me later. This is the only league I'm a part of, and I cherish it. I try to adhere to all the rules. I respect everybody, especially the admins and the stewards. And maybe a lot of these guys are in different leagues where it becomes maybe nonchalant, where maybe other leagues are a little more loosey-goosey. And I, in that sense, I get that. The mistake can be made, but most of those guys are veterans of this league, and they know better. Mm-hmm. Right.
Done it. I suppose in retrospect we could say, oh well, we could have just carried on with everything. But at the same time, we don't know how many people it affected. Some people aren't active in the chat but are racing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just better to restart it and just be safe. But
I think RC's earned the oops award, not the oops award, but he does a lot. So, and maybe he did mess up, and I think that's okay.
Well, yeah, I think he said he pushed the wrong button. Like he was probably trying to cycle through something and maybe hit the wrong. Because if you're on the wheel, like the buttons aren't quite the same, right?
Yeah, you have to be on the grid though. You can't have checked into the setting, going back to the garage to pick your setup and fuel and whatnot. You have to be on the grid and hit X by accident.
Yeah.
And that's entirely possible. And again, RC's been around for a long time, so I'd give him the benefit of the doubt. if in fact were his error. Nobody else. Not even Puff.
So we're missing 2 drivers, apparently.
Okay.
Oh, Beck and RC we're missing.
Becca's now in here. I really like RC's new format for standings, driver standings.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was RC that set that up or if it was the
No,
Gunner Will.
Gunner Will did, but let me look at that. I really thought RC had changed it up. Yeah, I think he did because RC's was the backdrop was white, and Gunner Will was black. But anyhow, either way, I really like that format where, as you know, a tier driver, you can look and see your progress, see what you did, where maybe you need to improve, what track, what not. I thought that was great. Silent says we're good now, LOL. Oh, and you already responded.
I have no patience for it, my friend. I have no patience for it. I scrambled home, showered as quick as I could, jammed some dinner into me, sat down ready to go, and as soon as we load in, someone hits ready. I was like, you mother... Just about snapped. If everybody can go back and watch the beginning of the stream, watch me just lose my damn mind about it.
Well, it looks like we've got everything. If
someone starts clipping audio bites of it. What the hell are you even doing here?
I would approve of that. Please post it in the.
It'll probably happen. Someone will
post it in the general chat so that everybody can see it and everybody becomes aware what not to do.
How often have you heard me lose it like that on a stream though? Like it's pretty. That's got to be one in 100, you know.
Yeah, that was the longest unhappiness stream I've been a part of with you.
Mm-hmm. It was just extremely frustrating, you know.
And it is. I mean, it's a very simple thing, and understandably, accidents happen. But most of these guys, again, you know, it's frustrating. So it's just frustrating, and glad we got it. You know, I was going to not suggest, but I was going to ask, do we start over just to let RC get a setup? And thankfully it was done. So cool.
Oh, Fuzz is in the chat already saying he's going to clip the whole stream. So I guess when you step down as admin, you got plenty of time to do crap like that, eh?
Yeah. Who's Fuzz, anyways? I never heard of that guy. It's just, yeah.
Never did a damn thing. Never lifted a finger around here.
No. I seen a lot of comments in the Discord, but I've never really seen anything on track from him.
I've seen him spin a few times in formation laps, safety cars, stuff like that.
You know, he does definitely, all kidding aside, definitely does add a lot to the Discord.
Oh, looks like we got a wet sprint now. That's good news.
Ooh. So, are we skipping the one-shot quali?
No, we are doing one-shot quali again because we don't know if anybody actually... I don't know how many people had setup issues or weren't prepared or anything. And I mean, the guys that had issues and spun, this is your chance to redeem yourself. Jinin?
Yep.
Puff?
Yeah, Puff. Trying to recall here exactly where it was. I think it was. I tried to print up a map of the new layout to get the corners numbers correctly, but just as you hit the chicane that they removed, as you're coming around there, your top speed, and you got a sharp left, sharp right. I think he went a little deep on the right, off track just a tiny bit, and that's where he invalidated his lap.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, he went on. It looked to me like he nailed that. next
All right,
turn.
so Brian was on pole provisionally. Let's check in with Brian. Let's see if we can get on board with him. See how his lap looks. I'd presume everybody be on the softs. I don't know why you wouldn't be. So I know the order does sort of change as the laps go on. But yeah, you can only really watch one guy at a time. So
Yeah.
and jumping around during one-shot quali is very slow. So
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not instantaneous.
nah,
Everybody
figured I
is
should,
on the softs. And if the way that Brian Scott is jumping up and down on the leaderboard here is any indication of where you actually are in relation to all the other qualifying drivers, Puff is sitting at the top and he hasn't moved.
Nah, I've noticed that. Brian's slowly climbing the order, but Puff is on top currently. He's just lost it to T-Money and RC's in the mix too. Brian Scott looking like a P8 now though. And that would be pretty frustrating, I think, for him after putting it on pole in the first run. See how that final turn goes for Brian. Very good exit for him. He's gaining. We'll see what the final times are. T-Money, Puff, Sam, Zamagla.
T-Money.
T-Money
Way to
takes
go.
pole.
Way to go,
Look at the
T-Money.
difference there. Puff Digital by 200ths.
Wow.
Just off T-Money, and Puff is very good in the rain. If it's a wet sprint, you could see Puff starting on the front for the actual race. And apologies to Brian. I feel bad. He lost that first place start on the reset. Unfortunately, it's hard for us to know making these decisions, like who was impacted, who was the cause of the issue. It's hard for us to make those decisions. I think sometimes it's better just to wipe the slate clean and do it again. It's as frustrating as it is.
It's inevitable. Some guys were going to benefit, some guys were going to lose. Unfortunate, for sure. So, Team Money, way to go. Team Money, Puff, Sam, Zem, Adri, Brian, Saye still, I guess, learning how to drive without the assists. Mr. Joshua in P8, Beck 9, Rockstar 10. Sorry I didn't get to the others. But I'm really excited to see that Team Money was able to put himself up there, because Team Money has always been fast. Shit happens, and it affects his race. Because he doesn't always have the... Oh boy, it is raining. He doesn't always have the best qualifying. So he gets in the middle of the pack or towards the back of the pack, and then, as we all know, stuff happens. So glad to see he's up front to start this sprint. T-Money and Puff Digital, two longtime members of ZOR.
Yeah.
Puff has been around since... Puff has been around since day one, right?
Puff... Yeah, me and Puff started the league together, so he's day one. Day one. There's a few guys that have been here since pretty much the start. I would say not a whole lot of them left, but a few guys were here in season one.
Sam is one, right? Was Janet?
I remember racing Sam in the second race we ever ran. Me and Sam were fighting for the win.
Oh, no kidding.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Digital is the George Russell of the grid. He's got those crazy eyes. Alright, 20 seconds till we start the sprint. There shouldn't be a formation lap. It's going to be a wet sprint, and I guess dry race. No one did mention if it was wet or not for the race session, but I assume it would have been mentioned with the wet sprint part. And here's to Brian. Hopefully he can get himself back to the front of the field. Obviously feeling a little robbed at this point, but we have 5 lights on. The sprint in Australia underway. This will decide the grid for our 50% race. Puff with a very good start. It looks like he is into the lead into turn 1. Team Money on the outside. That is not a good place to be in the wet weather. And there's a spin there from Zamaglis.
Zamaglis, yes.
Has spun. Brian down in 9th, has lost some ground. Sam is up into 3rd, so Brian going to be really frustrated at this stage, feeling that feeling a little robbed because of the qualifying session and now having to deal with the traffic further down. But Brian makes a good move there, holding his position. He's holding P9 firmly. He's got Adri in front of him. Adri is a quick driver, so man, it is going to be tough to overtake here in this wet weather.
Yeah, Brian shouldn't give up. As Sam makes, say yes. Nice move.
Through.
Oh,
really nice move, but T-Money, sorry,
Sam almost
fighting it back.
I was going to say, I mean, 10 laps in the rain, so nobody should give up at this point, and nobody should rest on their laurels at all, because we got 10 laps in the rain.
I agree with you there. Brian and Beck scrapping at the back. What's going on there? It's like Brian under pressure from Beck. Beck really putting the squeeze on, but he goes into the grass. That is not a good place to be trying to find traction. Obviously, he's lost that place now. Brian has also lost a spot to Jinnit there. So, oh man, he's going to be feeling hard done by at this point.
So Puff really showing some good pace here early on. He's already built a second and a quarter.
Yeah,
lead over T-Money.
The clear air makes a big difference in the cornering and braking in the wet weather. We don't see a whole lot of spray at the moment, but
and
definitely starting to build a gap. Asylum picking up a penalty already.
Ouch.
And looks like someone's had an issue. Is it Sam? He's gone right to the back of the order. Is he spotting? I didn't notice. There was
did not
yellow.
see.
Say he's putting some serious pressure on though. All over T-Money. He's really picked up the no assist thing quite quickly. And it's something I was trying to tell him in the off season was, hey man, like you're bloody quick. Like you take those assists off, you're gonna be fine. And sure enough, look at him go.
So Adri, right now, Adri is ahead of Asylum, Jinnit, Joshua, and Brian Scott. They quite the train. You don't want to make a mistake at the front of this line right here. Look at that.
No. Adri actually made some pretty good progress. He was just ahead of Brian, and now Brian trying to make his way through that order.
Asylum went a little wide.
Yeah. Brian tucking in behind Joshua for a nice run down the straight. So we're on lap 3 of the sprint now. Only 7 more laps to go, and then we'll actually have a full race. The race session should be a little bit better. I think with the way the order's mixed up and with the DRS active, we're going to see some really quality racing in that actual 29-lap race.
Yeah,
it's going to be some pretty tough going here with this wet weather.
Yeah, if you look at, P6, P5 back to P11, I mean, they're all within DRS of each other.
Yeah. And
a simple mistake, and you might be in trouble because you won't be able to come back on the track. Go ahead.
Looks like CA has had a big error because Rockstar's through now, and Adri is right on him. Going to the outside. This is going to be a very interesting move. CA covers it nicely, but Adri down the inside. That was a very ballsy move.
Wow.
I did not think that was going to end well. I love Adri's Alonso helmet. He's got that Alonso Renault color on there.
And here we go.
Right down the inside for Adri. Job done.
Nice move. Yeah, I wonder if he has some damage because, he's going to be pressured now big time. He's got.
I would think it's probably just the tires, given the wet weather. It might be a little harder to get the tire temperatures under control. That's what I would say at this point. We got Brian and Beck going wheel to wheel here again. Looks like Brian going to get the better exit. No, Beck doing much better on the traction out of that corner, but Brian getting a nice slipstream now down the straight. He's going to tuck in on the outside. Going wheel to wheel here, and Brian a little wide there, but I think he's okay. We just probably we got someone into the wall. That's RC. Brian doing a nice job defending from back there. Oh, really clumsy on the throttle on the exit there, and he slammed into Beck. Now Beck got the better traction through this section, and Brian off the track. So Brian is struggling a little bit. I'm not sure if it's the wet weather or maybe just the
pushing a little
frustration of
hard.
everything.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes you get angry and it just
Yeah, you just try to
invades
do
like
too
every
much.
aspect of your. Yeah, exactly. I think he'd do well to take a breath and just kind of chill because I think with the DRS in the race session, he's going to be in a much better place to actually make some moves. So.
And 29 lap race coming up, so he's
There's a
obviously
long way
got
to
the
go
pace.
tonight.
Yeah. Nice to see these two
Brian is off
McLarens.
again.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So these
So
two
he is
McLarens
struggling here.
are pressuring Asylum big time. Asylum doing a great job, keeping his wits about himself with these guys right on his ass.
Yeah. We're going to check the penalty situation. Asylum has 6 seconds. Sam
Ooh.
with 9 already. That is a lot of penalties for a sprint race. And T-Money's had an issue? Or is Rockstar just making moves here? Yeah, T-Money racing
They're side by
with
side.
Rockstar here. Yeah, I thought T-Money maybe had an issue, but we've lost our intervals to the leader. You know what? T-Money, I think, did have an issue because we're now 3.8 behind Puff, so T-Money must have had an error.
Oh.
Still side by side. Very tricky stuff. Rockstar super consistent. Made up a few places from people making mistakes in front of him. Puff has a nice gap now, 4 seconds out in front. Obviously, that won't matter when they take the grid for the actual race session, but I think Puff will take some comfort in that if he does get a good start, he could gap these guys.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, none of these guys aren't slow.
No.
Pup showed it in the one-shot quality that he knew what he was doing on this track, and it's showing here in the sprint race too.
It's unfortunate because Puff actually was at the back of the field after the original qualifying he ran.
Yeah, because he DQ'd.
Brian was at the front, and now it seems like their fates have been reversed. But Adri, I think Puff is going to be concerned about Adri carving through the field here. You'll probably see him on his interval chart in the upper left corner. Adri just coming into view now, closing on T-Money. He's going to be a serious threat to Puff in the actual race session. I'm not sure how Rockstar and T-Money will do in the dry race pace, but obviously they were quick enough to start out front in the qualifying. Again, one-shot quality is a little tough. Like, you do, one little mistake and it was your only hope, so it can be very punishing, but it was tough. It was tough making these decisions in the off-season. Like, how are we going to run these sprint weekends? We thought, you know what? We give everybody one shot at it. At least everybody had an equal chance, and there's no preference or priority, and we don't have to set a grid. We don't have to, because if you go by championship order or something like that, or reverse championship order, it's always kind of be the same kind of throughout the season. So I figured the one shot at least allows people to control their own fate to some extent, right? Here comes Say, though, putting some pressure on Adri.
Yeah.
Say is he's had every race we've watched him so far this season. He's had a few little mistakes, but he manages to get under control and recover nicely. So good on him, hanging in that top 5, carrying good pace, racing nicely.
Oh, he went around as he
did.
That's all right. Did not reset the track. Great job, Say.
He does. He wanted me to comment on his helmet. I'll take a look at it now if we get a chance. We got another car. Yellow flag. Where is that? Is that just for Say recovering?
Yeah, I don't see a flag.
Helmet, yeah, he's got that Williams. He's got the Williams colors integrated in his helmet. A lot of blue in there, looking really nice. But yeah, it's Say he's still 11th, but again, like we said, there's still a whole race session to go. There's plenty of opportunity to make up places once it's dry and we get the DRS in. Adri going around the outside on T-Money. They're saving.
Hang on, boys.
Saving some space for one another, but
there you go.
There's not much through there.
No, I think that was a smart move by T-Money to just he really couldn't fight that too much. Adri had the position, so he tucked himself right in behind him, didn't fight him too hard, compromise his own momentum, race pace, and now he's being pressured by his teammate.
Yeah, look at this. A few cars very close to one another in a very tricky part of the track.
I thought that Asylum lost it.
He's hanging on. He's got Jinnit pressure.
Jinnit is right there.
Jinnit's going to send that. He's not thinking twice. And it's left plenty of room. Asylum did a nice job getting on the traction, but Jinnet's gone through. Jinnet does need to make up some ground now with that penalty he's carrying. He's going to... Actually, he gets behind. It's not too bad. There goes...
Team Money went deep.
Super deep. Very deep.
Careful.
And on the curve, on the exit, that's not a great place to be either. So
no.
Jinnit snuck through. Now Puff is can be very concerned for the race session. He's got Rockstar, Adri, and Jinnit starting directly behind him now.
So silent.
Will, we got Gunner Will in the chat there asking about qualifying position. I think you put their one-shot quali in because the sprint race we are awarding points, right? So I think we're going to count that differently than qualifying. It does set the grid, but it isn't technically qualifying. So the top 8 get points, and it'll be 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So Razor right now getting a point, which is good for him. I think he just missed the points last week, but if he can snag a point in the sprint, I think he'd be happy with that, and then he's in a pretty good place to score again during the actual race. Puff's going to pick up 8 points, and Rockstar was 7, and 6, 5, 4, so on down to P8. Let's get back to Team Money, though, putting some pressure on Asylum.
Asylum just actually made the pass on him.
Oh, did he start?
Yeah. And I was hoping that they were chatting with each other because it was getting kind of contentious there. They were side by side. Teammates, you don't want to be compromising each other's race. So I think I think Team Money probably let Asylum go by.
Well, the thing is, Team Money's going to get him on the penalties anyway, so it's probably better if Asylum stays in front. Then he can work on running a clear air and try and getting a gap to the cars behind, because right now Asylum is slightly at risk of being jumped by Razor. He might not even get a point here. And he does need to make up a few tenths here to kind of make himself safe. So
great point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's no sense in really being fighting your teammate too hard. If the guy behind you, if your teammate behind you is fast enough to be challenging you like that, I think you need to let him by. So Zamoglis is starting to pressure Quaminator back in P10 and 11. That's pretty much the closest battle other than Josh and T-Money. Mm-hmm. But Zamoglis unfortunately couldn't make a lot of the races last season. Hopefully he can make a lot of them this season, or all of them for that matter.
Razor has been passed by Say, so probably out of the points now. May have made a mistake because I don't think Say was that close that he should be that far ahead already. There's a Moglis.
Now, Quaminator, impressive. He was racing Tier 3 last season. So here he is in Tier 1 with no assists except for the line. And holding his own.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that we saw that last week, that the no assist thing actually did bring the field pretty close together. We got to see like a good amount of solid racing there.
Silent got another penalty. Probably just pressing a little too hard, I think.
Yeah, now Razor might be in place for a point.
Yeah, let's see the
penalties. Quick math, he's just barely outside the range. If Asylum loses any ground, he could be out of the points here.
Yeah, Asylum's 9 seconds. Sam 9 seconds. Janet with only 3. Not bad. Only 3 drivers in the rain with penalties.
We got Andri and Janet now starting to close on Rockstar. And it looks like Puff is going to win the sprint race here. So Puff started second. T-Money was on pole, and Puff got a better start. Took the lead into turn 1. Gets the win for the sprint. Rockstar is going to start second for the race. Adri will start third. Janet's fourth. Asylum is currently fifth, but obviously going to lose a lot with 9 seconds of penalties. Drops down to seventh for the time being. We got T-Money fifth, Joshua sixth, Asylum seventh. Is Say going to get him? Say, no, does not get Asylum by a tenth. So Say will start 8th, and Razor has missed out on points again. Very close, but I'm sure he's feeling pretty. He's got to be feeling somewhat confident knowing that he's not close 2 races in a row.
Yeah, but I mean, this is his first season with us, right? So
yeah, exactly. He just joined in the off season and jumped right into no assists with us. So
yeah,
really good showing so far.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Puff. You got to win.
Yep,
it's not worth. It's not worth 25 points, but it's a win.
Goes down as a dub. All right, I'm going to run to the washroom quick, refill my wine, and then we'll get this race going. I mean, my juice.
Yeah. Your energy drink. I thought that was a pretty good sprint race right there. Unfortunate for RC. Who else? Brian. They spun, pushed them down the order. However, the race is a completely different animal. So Puff gets 8 points. Rockstar gets 7 for P2. P3, Adri gets 6. Janet, P4, gets 5. T-Money, P5, gets 4. Josh, in 6th, gets 3. Asylum, in 7th, gets 2. And Saye, in 8th, gets 1. So, congrats to those guys.
Yeah, good. It was a good little sprint race. I wish it was dry. When we were thinking about making Australia a sprint, I was thinking with that new section, that very very long straight there, they kind of straightened it out a bit. There's no
the chicane.
Yeah, there's no chicane there anymore. So I was thinking that would be really good for a sprint. Bringing guys really close together into a tricky corner. And unfortunately. So it was wet weather, so that wasn't great, but it is dry for the race.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. So after having essentially tiptoe your way through the, I'm chrome, that, not the sprint race. Come on, GP. So they had to be very careful, obviously, on throttle, whatnot, wet conditions. Now you're going to be, looks like dry conditions. A lot of these, this is almost euphoric, where now you can really go. You know your car, you know your handling, you know how to take these turns, because I think most of the guys, if they're going to be practicing this, they practice it, 80% in the dry, and then if they have extra time, they might practice a little bit in the wets. But
right. All right, we got 23 seconds till race time. We are going to go racing. No formation lap. We're just going to see the lights and we're going to race. And we got 29 laps around Albert Park in Melbourne. And Puff is starting at the front, and he's got some serious competition on his heels. So we'll see if Puff can convert the sprint win into a race win. And we'll see what the other guys can do from behind. Hopefully some of those guys around the back of the field can get some overtakes done and move up. We are going racing. 3, 4, 5 lights are on. And it's go. Very slippery start for Puff. He's under serious pressure here from Rockstar.
We get a Mercedes. Zamoglis and Brian Scott, I think, got into it.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, Puff, I think, ran a little wide there, but he maintained the lead in the start. He's not going to give that up, I'll tell you that much. So even if that ended up being a penalty, I think he would just take that and just run with it, because what he's going to hope is these guys behind are squabbling. And we have a safety car? There's a VSC. I think it's just a VSC.
Now,
do we have some damage here? No.
I don't know.
Why are we going so slow? You know what? T-Money has lost his entire front wing, and that's probably why we have a VSC.
Damn.
Just for them to clean up the debris. So that's pretty legitimate. We'll give them that.
Now, these tires, without the formation lap, they are cold. They like to be like 208, 210 degrees Fahrenheit-ish.
Can you say that in actual number terms? Because no one knows what those numbers mean. Celsius?
Temperature. Fahrenheit. Yeah. Did I say Fahrenheit? I thought I did.
Fahrenheit. I was
Okay.
just saying, like,
Oh
most
yeah.
people don't know what Fahrenheit is.
F you. Yeah, I couldn't tell you what the Celsius temperatures are.
Yeah,
Anyhow,
I recall it being around 100 Celsius roughly.
yeah. So if my memory
90 to
serves me
100.
correct. Oh, geez, T Money could not make that turn. But I mean, the tide
All right,
temps
we're racing again.
were like at 160, so 170 degrees. You at the start, you need to really be
Yeah,
careful.
absolutely. All right, let's check out our battles here. We got Brian. Brian has started on the softs at the back, and he's a fair ways off the rest of the pack due to that collision there. He would have been hoping that was be a full safety car. Unfortunate for him. It really has just unraveled for Brian. I mean, he did absolutely nothing wrong. He was forced to qualify again, didn't quite get the lap he had put in originally, and then had a bad start, slid down the order, went off the track a couple times, and it just really has gotten away from him. And I can understand that. It's hard to get out of that mentality when you're racing. It's hard to get out of that mindset that, you know, everything's stacked against you. So I feel for him tonight, and, you know, obviously apologies for having to restart and wipe that clean. I do really feel bad because he earned that, and it was taken from him from no fault of his own. So it's unfortunate, but hopefully he can get his head down and get some good racing done. A lot
Long
of
ways
guys
to go.
ahead. Yeah, a lot of guys ahead are racing very close to one another, and that should bring him back into the mix quite quickly here. Did you see him? He's taken about a second out of the car in front of him already, so. And
So
Puff is going to be under some serious pressure here. He's got Rockstar, Jenna, and Joshua right on his tail. He
so
needs to get out of that DRS.
yeah, everybody started on the mediums. The exception being Josh, Saye, Beck, and Brian Scott.
Mm-hmm.
They're on the softs. Beck being the exception, he's on the hards. So everybody
Yeah,
else are on the
interesting
mediums.
strategy there. Not sure how long the hards go, but it would allow him to get at the front of the field and perhaps back everybody up. I don't know if that's a tactic or just a way he preferred to race, maybe. But if there is a safety car or something along those lines, he could end up parked in front of everyone else. It could be an issue if there's a DRS train.
You know, Josh being on the softs, his teammate right in front of him on the mediums. Disadvantage Josh, obviously. If he can't get by his teammate, you know, there goes a big part of his race. And it doesn't seem like he's really able to make any inroads.
Oh,
However,
Rockstar goes deep, and that lets Janet and Joshua through. And Adri's right there now, too. Adri sends it. Yeah, I don't know if I like that move. That was a day late and $1 short, but he got it done. I think Rockstar will feel a little hard done by there, but I don't really blame Adri for sending it either.
It didn't look like he really compromised. I mean, he may have surprised Rockstar, but I don't think he pushed Rockstar.
No, he didn't run into him or anything, but I don't think Rockstar would have expected that, and maybe had to cancel his turn in through the apex there. I would think that would have been the worst of it. But I don't blame Adri for doing it. I mean, he's seen an opportunity. The guy's on the back foot, and you just send it and get that move done, right? So.
Yep. Yeah, you have to expect the driver behind you being aggressive.
Absolutely. Anywhere. I mean, we're racing. We're not.
Yeah.
We're
I mean,
running a parade here.
You leave a little bit of a window open, and somebody is likely to take that opportunity and make a go at it. So as the lead driver, if you mess up on a corner going in, you need to be ready. Somebody might be coming to the inside of you.
I was going to say, Puff is definitely feeling the pressure here. We've seen him run wide a couple times, and Jennett was right on his tail. Puff picked up a penalty there, so 3-second penalty to Puff already. That's not great. Hopefully he can tidy up the track limits a little bit and see if he can gap that.
We got
behind.
Saye went off in the next to last turn, and it does not appear as though he has any damage. However, he is going to box. I would assume he's going to go to the hards.
I mean, if you're picking up damage that close to the pit lane, you might as well you're going to lose far more lap time. I mean, even if the tires are cooked, you're going to lose lap time. You're better off just to get them changed, I guess. Yeah, go to the hards, go to the end. I think the hards can go 20 laps or whatever.
I think the hards could probably start a race and finish a race. Any one of them.
Yeah. That's fair.
Now, whether that, I mean, I'm sure they could. You might be at 80% on the hards at the end of the race, and basically on ice with dull skates. But
yeah. So we'll see how Puff handles this. He's picked up a penalty defending from Jinnit, and I mean, if he ends up managing to gap Jinnit and drop him, that would probably be worth it at the end of the day. But what's going to be the problem is if Puff starts to lose performance, T-Money's out.
Oh,
in the pit
no.
lane, it looks like. I think he's just given it up in the pit lane. He's just had enough. But if Puff manages to gap Jinnit there and drop him, I would say that's probably worth it, because you're staying in clear air. And you know, the problem would be if Puff starts to lose performance on his tires and has some other issues and starts dropping down the order, and now he's also carrying a penalty from defending, then it becomes a big issue, right? So Jinnit sends it very deep. Puff looking for the switchback to try and hang on, but no, Jinnit maintains it.
Beck is making a move, and he has completed the pass on Sam. Yeah, and impressive, because Beck is on the hard, Sam is on the mediums. So
that's good news for Beck.
Keep it going, Beck. No offense, Sam. Beck seems
Brian.
Go ahead.
Brian's pressuring Razor there, and Razor, I think, just got passed by RC. He might have had an issue because it looked like he was a little bit off the racing line when RC made his way through. So now Joshua's putting some pressure on Puff. These guys are no strangers to one another, old rivals from previous season, fighting for the title. And now here they are in Tier 1 racing at the front once again. Puff not losing ground with Jinnit, though, and that's probably a good thing. I think Puff needs to keep that DRS. He wants a chance at winning this race. He needs to stay there and put pressure on Jinnit. Try to force some penalties out of him as well.
So we're a ways from a pit stop for the medium tire drivers. Oh, actually, Jinnit has gotten past Puff. What happened? I didn't see.
It was an overtake.
Okay. The DRS overtake?
Right here. Yeah,
okay.
Right into this corner.
All right, my bad.
He got him on the brakes. Jinnit went very deep, but Puff couldn't really pull off the switchback. Jinnit had good enough traction to maintain it.
So I wish I knew the answer to this. The undercut. You know, how is there an undercut? Can you pull that off? Is it something to consider?
I would think if you're going to either the medium or soft, that fresh tire would be a much better tire than any of these worn ones. If you look at Puff, actually, just to point this out, Joshua is on the soft tire.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
He's kind of on the wrong strategy for everyone around him, because these guys, I would think, are going to end up on the softs at the end of the race.
Josh needs a safety car. Full safety car, and then he'll probably be smiling. However,
absolutely, because he would be going to the end on the mediums. But
yeah.
If there's a full safety car, the guys on mediums are in big trouble because they have a very tough decision.
Oh, we have a spin. That is Rockstar. Rockstar spun coming out of the last turn.
Jeez, he was having a really good night so far. It's unfortunate that he slid down the order and had an issue tonight. Brian, I'm wondering if the softs are starting to fall off, because Brian is struggling to get by Razor.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't run any laps here. I couldn't, you know, maybe I should be doing my homework as a commentator, right?
There's no time. There's no time for that.
No, there isn't.
Showing up every week is enough of a commitment.
Season 9, I'll have more info.
All right. Fuzz pointing out 3 champions.
Oh, we might have a full safety car.
That is a full safety car.
There you go, Josh.
Saboglis has crashed out, and I have to say, as rough as Brian's night has been, this is what he needed. This is going to allow him to put the mediums on and go to the end of the Grand Prix.
Yep.
The medium runners have a very, very tough decision to make.
What do you do? What do? Do you go to the hards?
No, I think the risk of the
Sheesh.
safety car is pretty high here. I would think some of them might even stay out, especially Puff and Jinna out front. Why not? Why not just stay out and get into some clear air? Puff stays out.
Janet goes
Joshua
in.
pits. No, Puff did pit, actually.
Josh,
Was
top
very
3,
late.
top 4, top 5, top 6. Sam, top 7. So it looks like pretty much everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The whole field is pit.
Follow the leader.
This is
And
good news for Say. He needed a break.
so Janet's on the. Everybody went to
Oh!
the hards.
Is that Adri spinning out of the pit lane? Adri's lost the
Yep.
car coming out of the pits, and he's crossed the line. That's
Hopefully he
going to be
didn't
a
get-
penalty as well.
Oh, drive through for Beck.
Well, he
Speeding.
stayed out, and he's got speeding. But
Damn.
Adri spun the car, which has also led to him crossing the pit lane exit line. And that's something we discussed pre-season, is that we're calling that as a penalty. The game doesn't apply a penalty for it, but
Oh, okay.
we intended to apply penalties for people that cross that line going in and out of the pits. So
Yeah,
if
but how
there
do
is
you...
evidence,
Okay. All right. You're going to answer my question right now.
well, if there's evidence provided that someone has crossed the line going in or out of the pit lane, like you're supposed to enter the pit lane and not cross over the line to do it, right? Everybody's
Yeah.
gone to the hard tire. Okay. Was the medium to hard the strategy all along? Was that what everyone
I don't
was
know.
thinking?
Brian's on the mediums. Look for Brian to make some inroads here. Say is on the softs, but he's still in the pit. Yeah, he's on the softs. Say there's no way, unfortunately, that Say can take those to the end. However, like you said,
I
there's...
wonder if he's just getting the tire change thing done. No, because he already changed them to hards.
Well, he's in last. You know what? He can maybe at the end of this lap come back in and put the mediums back on and go to the end.
Well, that's possible.
Yeah, that'd be 20. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, he probably just has another set of softs, and I mean, if you do the softs now, and there's a safety car, Beck's. I hope he's not trying to serve his drive-through. He does know he can't serve it under the safety car, right?
So Beck is in the pits. Is that who you're talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
Oh, he's boxing. No wing change. Tire change to the mediums.
I think what he's thinking is, I'm going to be at the back when I serve my drive-through anyway. I need a better set of tires, not the hards. Oh, we've got another spinner. Is that Razor who's lost it?
How?
Oh, he got disqualified
Oh.
for blocking the pit lane exit. He didn't get it turned around quick enough.
That sucks.
That is a very unfortunate way to end the night.
You said Raise. Okay, yeah, and Zamoglis DNF'd as well. I think we already.
Smogglus caused the safety car.
Okay, yeah.
Adri spun coming out of the pit exit. It looks like Razor did the same thing. And he's actually been disqualified because it took him too long to get his car moved.
Ooh. Yeah, so Say did come back in and go to the hards and nearly crossed the line. Those tires are like rocks. Or, again, for me, it's like dull skates on ice.
Oh, Joshua has dropped.
Oh, no.
I was going to say, I just saw a ghost car moving around like a desync issue here. And it looks like Joshua's dropped. He's going to be very thankful that Say hit again, because I think that's going to allow him to get back in before the race restarts.
I was going to say, watching Say come out of the pits, and it was slippery. It was very slippery for him, and it almost cost him crossing the white line. He didn't, from what I could see anyways. However, those tires, they don't warm up fast, and they are slippery. The good thing for him is he's got to make up 25 seconds, so he can really push those tires now and warm them up.
Smogglus is in the chat saying that Beck was off track. I passed him. It said I did an illegal overtake, and I let him pass, and then he lets me pass, and he keeps saying illegal overtake.
That sucks.
Is that why he crashed? Is he trying to sort that out and then there was an issue and ended up crashed out?
I don't know, but
Maybe that's
say
what
he
he's
spun around coming out of the last turn.
definitely. Zamagos, put a clip of that in the Discord for us. So we just want to take a look at that, even if nothing comes of it, just so we kind of know. Like any weird issues with this game like this, we kind of want to make sure that we're aware of them. I know some people have been saying there's a bug with the safety car. Something weird goes on, and I really, really hope we don't have to turn the safety car off. As cumbersome and slow as it is, I do think it's kind of an important strategic factor to racing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and taking it off, I think, would just not be great. But I think the safety car should be in now. Should see the lights turn off as they make their way through the chicane here.
Yeah, say he's catching up fairly quickly here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his tires ought to be pretty close to temp now. Maybe, well, a lot closer than they would be had he not been able to race around near. And in fact, spinning out probably helped him bring up the temperature.
Right. All right,
So
looks like we are going racing again. So Jennett's going to take the lead of the field here. Can't get going too soon because the safety car needs to be in the pit lane before they get anywhere near it. Puff really trying to get these tires warmed up.
So I'd like to bring up at this point right now where we're getting ready to restart under safety car, how important it is to not pass somebody even accidentally.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really messes things up.
Yeah, so Puff very hesitant on the restart there. Jennett got a nice jump on him. He's already pulled the second gap. And he's going to have Joshua for company and Asylum tucked in just behind. So how's this worked out for Brian? Brian got the medium tire on and his P9 now. He's going to be able to make some moves on that tire, I feel. Yeah, but he does need to get them to go 17 laps. And I'm not 100% certain that he's going to get mediums 20 laps. If he does, and he ends up in the top 5, hell of a drive.
Yeah, I think at this point he needs to focus on where he thinks he can get with these tires if he had to go to the end without safety car.
Right.
And then accept that and then playing the strategy if for some reason if the safety car comes out.
I'm gonna say that there probably will be another safety car. We've got a few usual suspects in the field that could be a cause. And that could pay off for Brian, because if Brian can make up some positions now and then is able to pit and get onto the same tire as everyone else at the end, then he's heads up racing again, right? So right now he's disadvantaged with having tires that are going to fall off. He'll have quicker tires for now, but they will be falling off towards the end of the Grand Prix. Something he needs to think about. I'm sure it's going to factor into his aggression when he does make moves. He really can't afford to be conservative. He's definitely going to want to make these moves stick if he does get an attempt. So,
top 8 positions are all on hard tires, all the same age tires. So top 8 drivers, same tire.
Let's see if Brian can get a move done here. He's putting some pressure on Rockstar, and those medium tires working nicely for Brian. He should be able to get him on the brakes, and he does. Excellent job on the brakes there. Perfect control, gets the move done. Nice over from Brian. Let's get back to the front. We'll keep an eye on Brian's delta to the cars in front of him. See how he does making his way through the field. And there's Jennett's penalty. So now, Puff and Jennett racing ahead. And Jennett has been known to pick up a penalty or two. So Puff will be licking his lips seeing that.
Yeah, but Jennett has done an incredible job. From my point of view, when I first came into the league, Jennett seemed to be he'd accumulate a lot of penalties, and then 3 seasons ago, he just really clamped down on that, and that's pretty much a thing of the past. So.
Some gorgeous racing there from Adri and Quaminator. Quaminator on the curbing, keeping 2 tires on the track. Adri left plenty of room there, and as they approached the next corner, Adri sort of shoved his car over a little bit, kind of like, hey, come on, get out of my way, I need to get through here. And there goes Brian. How did he get up to P6 so quickly?
He's on the medium tires. bigger.
He must have got he must have got two. Well, he must have got two cars on that last lap because he's already caught up to Adri now.
Well, we already know that he has
did
tremendous
he just pass
pace.
Rockstar? So he got Sam and Quaminator in one lap, and there he is. Yeah, he's right in the mix now. He's chasing down that top 5. And if there is another safety car, I mean, Brian, I don't think all the guys on hards are gonna not pit. I mean, most of them will. There might be a guy or two at the front that decides to stick it out, but they're going to be severely disadvantaged if there's a safety car. So it's a very interesting strategy choice. It's working out for Brian at the moment.
Yeah, key, safety car. If there is another safety car, what do these hard tire drivers do?
Yeah.
Do they box? Depending on, how many laps are left, when it occurs. If there's 5 laps left, 4 laps left, maybe you stay out. What the anticipated restart, 5 laps left, 4 laps left, you might stay out. However, more than that, maybe you go back to the medium. Actually, you could go back to the softs at that point. If there's a safety car at lap 20, I would think that everybody would come in for the softs.
Yeah, I would think so.
I would think. Anything before or after that, that's where it becomes kind of dicey.
Yeah. So really nice battle forming here. Puff is he's just tiptoeing that line. He's almost dropped Joshua a couple times. Joshua kind of reels him back in. So Joshua keeping that DRS at the moment, but then he's got Asylum, Adri, Brian tucked in behind, puts pressure on. So there's really quite a train forming here, and Puff's the only one without DRS. He's going to have to work pretty hard to keep these guys behind.
So Sam back in P8 is, making I don't want to say making a good comeback, but I mean, he started back in the field, and he's starting to pressure Quaminator.
Yeah, Sam definitely has done a great job recovering. He had a really rough start. Now looking at a nice helping of points, and you would think with Quaminator's penalty and Sam's pace versus Quaminator's pace, I think Sam might have a good shot at getting that place. And then it's a matter of if he can get the gap to the cars in front closed up. So
now
Brian
something
Scott,
go ahead.
Sorry, Brian Scott putting some pressure on Adri here. And really, this is killing Brian's tires at this stage. He's got those medium tires on, but he can't really use them because he's got 4 cars in front of him with DRS.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for him, for sure. He'd easily pass anybody in front of him if they didn't have the DRS.
I think so, yeah. I mean, he's almost pulled it off a couple times with the DRS in front.
Even on equal tires, for the most part, a lot of these, he's exceedingly fast. So what I was going to say is that something that really doesn't ever get mentioned is the mental aspect of this. And
absolutely,
you have to have that never say die. You never know what's going to happen. It could be, you need to stay focused on staying in the race. Yeah, maybe you finish last, so what? However, you'd hate to lax and not care anymore and miss the opportunity to gain 4 or 5 positions. So,
yeah.
And I say that for Sam and a lot of these other drivers.
Has had an issue, as you say.
Yeah. Sorry, Sam. Actually, I said it only after he had it. But anyhow, I mean, for me, it's like you need to keep that focus. And we only race once a week, so make the most of it. Even if you you have issues or whatnot.
So Joshua dangerously close to losing his DRS advantage. Oh, and he's dropped again. So Joshua's having some problems with his connection this season. This is 2 races in a row he's had these decent issues dropping out. So
I wonder.
I was going to say, this is great news for Puff because these guys are going to struggle behind the ghosted car.
Yep, there he goes. He's already lost 2 spots. Going to lose 3 rather quickly. I was going to.
That's so unfortunate because he was doing a hell of a job keeping Puff under pressure, keeping the guys behind him, and now he's lost it because of something beyond his control. That's really, really unfortunate. Asylum is now just He's just outside the DRS range, so this might be Puff's chance to bridge that 3-second gap. He really needs to get the hammer down and pull away here. I do think Asylum is going to be under serious pressure.
Yeah.
The DRS was helping him, but Adri and Brian are going to give him hell now.
Yeah,
so
yeah. I think Asylum is looking back.
Hammer down.
Asylum's looking backwards, not forward right now.
Yeah. To be fair though, Asylum's having a hell of a drive tonight. He's doing a really good job. He's in a podium spot currently. Even before that was P4, and he's, putting pressure on Josh, handling the pressure from behind, doing a nice job. So good to see. Joshua has got back in the car. He'll have lost the places, but at least he's close enough to close back in and fight again. So
yeah, that just really sucks.
Puff's time to get the hammer down is right now. He needs to build this gap. And it looks like Asylum just starting to lose touch a bit. So
I wonder.
That'll be a welcome sight.
Basically off the record, it would be nice to know how many drivers in this league are hardwired and how many are driving Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Just to get.
I mean, Joshua, I don't recall ever having connection issues in the past. I thought he was pretty reliable. He used to host our sessions quite often. So.
Yep. So again, I mean, it'd be nice to know, and maybe we can then say, okay, it is the Wi-Fi guys that really have this issue. It's hardly, if ever, hardwired guys, or maybe it becomes a little clearer that it's actually pretty random. But
Asylum's straight line speed is pretty fantastic. Adri seems to lose touch with him. So Puff picks up another penalty. Not good news for him. Adri's now picked up a penalty.
Good news for Asylum. And Brian Scott, look at him. He's right there.
Brian Scott is right there and doesn't have penalties either. So Puff getting 6 seconds in penalties, that's going to put him... Jeez, I mean, that'll put him down in 9th.
Yeah, I don't know how well Brian can preserve his tires. I don't know if he's been managing them at all. I would doubt it. I think he's probably been on a mission since the start of this race.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at Fuzz's comment. He's like,
okay.
He's like, just say Beck. Beck is trying to be coy and saying usual suspects in terms of causing a safety car.
Shame on you, Fuzz.
It's a new season, new back, man.
You're
Brian
supposed to
having a serious look at Adri there. Yeah, Brian is starting to really hound Adri, so...
Oh, and he hit him!
He's run into him!
Oh, give that back. He's not going to be able to. Really, you ought to, Brian.
I mean, the penalty he's going to pick up from that. He's better off just keep racing. He'd have lost 3 spots giving that back. That's a,
that might be in the incident report.
He didn't do anything. He didn't mean... Yeah, of course, it'll be stewarded for sure.
Yeah, it was not an overly aggressive move. He
it just was
missed his breaking point. Yeah.
He was trying to stay as close as he could, and Adri probably lifted early to get a better exit, and it just... Sometimes things like that happen, but that's super... Oh, no! That's Quaminator gone round.
And is that going to be a full safety car? Nope, he should be okay.
Yeah, no, he didn't crash. He just spun the car, so he should be okay. So Asylum and Brian now... Brian would have picked up damage, I would think, from that collision. He's probably going to have to pit now. Surely picked up a little bit of damage, at least.
Yeah, it didn't... Okay. Yeah, it didn't seem like the contact was, like, pretty much straight on. It wasn't sideways or...
Is that Puff? Oh my goodness, Puff has lost it, and he's destroyed his wing. Unbelievable.
But that's not the commentator's curse.
We weren't even looking at him.
Nope. Pit.
Asylum now. Don't look now, but Asylum is only 3 seconds off a race win.
Hey, my fellow New Englander, I guess in part I have to kind of be somewhat biased and root for him. However... I will not voice that, other than what I just said.
Yeah. Puff picked up 5 seconds also going into the pit lane.
So Jennett right now, if things go green the rest of the way, Jennett, I think that's what Jennett wants, and Pretty
Yeah,
much,
of
probably
course, yeah.
everybody. Everybody in the top 3, anyways. Yeah, and even Josh. I mean, I think Josh should probably rather try to fight his way back and get that position rather than pit onto safety car and then deal with everybody being on fresh tires.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's got a 4-second lead over Adri, so really he just needs to nurse his way through.
Yeah, no, I think anybody on hards at this point is just kind of hoping for. They're just kind of hoping for green to the end here, unless you're way at the back and you want to get some cheeky points back. But yeah,
Seiya is making some inroads on RC here.
RC is just inside Rockstar's DRS range as well, so we got a nice little scrap forming here for P6, and oh, Adri's lost it. Andrew's had another moment here. He's lost a big piece of his end plate as well.
Oh yeah.
And it's really just unraveled for him since that collision. So
yeah, he's lost his end plate.
Make a move around the outside. Yeah, I don't think Andrew's.
Oh,
Adri! Why on earth were you putting it in the inside there?
Oh,
I mean.
Now Brian
There's
Scott.
no reason for that. He's just lost his end plate. His tires are overheated. Qualmeter's making his way through it.
You don't want to affect somebody else's race after your car has been damaged.
We've just gone over the penalty system many times, and there's really no room for error this season. I mean, he's just picked up a couple points on penalties now that he didn't need to pick up because he probably was going to lose that place in the next corner anyways.
Would he have fought his teammate like that? Would he have?
Adri?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. There, he has damage. There's no reason for him to be fighting like that. I admire the fighting spirit. However,
yeah,
it just doesn't make
logical.
sense.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, well, here, let's just take a couple steps back here and think back to what we were talking about earlier, the mental aspect. So Adri's been run into, spun around. He's now just made an error and broken his wing at the start of the lap. He's obviously things are unraveling and he's feeling the cards are stacked against him, and it's just one of those situations I think where it's probably the frustration and anger that makes that decision. It's not logical racing. It never made sense and never will. But when you're in that cockpit fuming, it's sometimes you don't think those things through, right? So that's probably where his head's at. I don't think it's unfair to suspect that.
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, he's been racing super clean the whole season so far. There's no reason to think that it's it's not. It's unusual behavior. Let's put it that way.
Correct. Yeah. Exactly. I don't mean to imply that, that's something that he does all the time. No, I get the frustration,
not at all.
and I totally understand. And keeping your wits about yourself and just recognizing, all right,
Yeah.
I get you.
It was a quick turnaround. It's literally like 4 or 5 seconds of racing later. Now you've got a car overtaking you, and I can understand the desire to try and defend that place. But yeah, I mean, in hindsight, you look at that and go, man, that was dumb. I shouldn't have done that because he's going to get a penalty now, and he didn't need to, and he's got the same result at the end of it, right?
So Brian Scott was in P3, and he has now boxed for the softs. So he's given up quite a bit of track position here with 6 laps left to go.
Yeah.
Which is surprising. I really thought that he might try to fight that to the end. Of course, tire wear. I mean, maybe his tires were at 70%. Who knows?
Yeah. No, I think Fuzz made a good point, though. He said he probably didn't slow down enough because of the damage. Like, he was, on that inside. He definitely wasn't gonna... He definitely wasn't keeping that place. So, it begs the question, why even be on the inside line? But at the same time, like, you kind of have to position your car in a manner that you don't just let a guy drive through you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see that. I just, there was a part of me that was thinking like, oh, why are you putting your car there after you've just recovered and now
Well,
you've caused a collision, and whether he meant to or not didn't matter. Obviously, I'm not saying he would never intentionally cause a crash. I'm not. That's not what I was trying to get at. But I mean, just like, did you honestly think you were going to defend that place after you just broke your wing? Like, no. I mean, it's just now there's a collision. It's obviously going to lead to a steward report, and it just seemed like a bad decision. Simply.
yeah.
But
Well, I mean, let's consider this like we try to be as fair as we can,
yeah.
describing what we see, and we may be wrong, and they just the drivers have to understand that we're not trying to call anybody out on anything.
Yeah, exactly.
We try to describe what we see, whether we're right or we're wrong, and we're not. I certainly am not trying to put anybody in jail or
Yeah, of course.
put a penalty on them. We just
Most
try
guys
to
understand that. Yeah, most guys understand that. I don't think there's been the odd time where someone's come at me in the chat after, oh, I can't believe you said that. And it's like, oh, come on, man, I'm commentating a race. Like, will you calm down? Like, I'm not.
It's not.
And get in the chat and start tagging you, like, hey, you idiot, what are you doing? Like,
it's not an indictment. It's commentary, and
exactly.
we're fallible. Obviously,
of course.
Particularly
Do you
me.
think the drivers get in Crofty's DMs after the race and go, "Oh, look, you didn't understand why I was on the inside there"? Nobody does that. Like it's just they know it's it's a job. Like we're commentators. That's what we're doing. We're trying to describe. We're trying to analyze. We're trying to rationalize. Trying to put ourselves in their shoes. What were you thinking? Like, why did you do that? Like. That's part of what we're doing here, presenting the race for everybody. So.
Yeah, exactly. We're not calling people out for the joy of calling people out. That's damn sure. At least.
I have called people out the odd time. I've seen something I didn't like, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna say it. I saw
but not
what I
for
saw,
joy.
Didn't like
not,
it. Yeah,
not
for joy.
Not to make a spectacle of the situation. You call it as you see it. It might infuriate you or frustrate you or whatnot, but yeah, there's no malice in it.
Yeah. Puff's had another moment, gone around at the back, and it looks like that's it for Puff. He's got the sprint win. That looks like the only points he'll be picking up tonight. He's carrying a lot of penalties and currently running P12.
So the closest, oh, nice. So I was just going to say the closest battle on track was Beck and Quaminator teammates, and Quaminator graciously let Beck get by. Beck is on the better tire, and good to see. Nice teamwork.
Say he's made 3 stops and is in 6th place. Yellow.
Oh, who was that? Was that Josh? Josh went off track. Yeah.
Josh has made a big mistake.
Yeah, wow. Oh man, he's dropped
Huge
4 or
mistake.
5 positions
lost,
there.
I mean, even Brian's gotten ahead of him now. Brian on the soft tires is making some serious headway here. He could be. He could end up on the podium here.
Yeah, he's got 2.5 laps
to do it.
Yeah.
Let's watch this and see how Brian does. Also going to get the fastest lap times right now. Brian currently has the fastest lap by quite some margin. 19.9 for Brian.
Brian
Take
had
a look at
look
that at the end of the race. Yeah, Brian has to have a look. He doesn't have much time left.
Yeah, and again, if I'm saying at this point right now, and I'm looking back and I see that I got Brian Scott on 3 lap hold.
He goes super deep.
Yeah.
And he's basically just handed that position to Brian. Now Brian is going to be in a great spot to challenge for that podium. He's got 2 cars and 2 laps to do it. And man, if you told me at the start of tonight, I'd started this race session. I mean, at the start of tonight, if you told me Brian would be on the podium, I'd be like, yeah, of course. I mean
yeah,
But if
he's
you told me at the
chance.
start of the 50% race that he'd be on the podium, I would have seriously doubted you. And look at the position he's in. And Jinnit has picked up another penalty. That's 6 seconds now. Asylum 9 seconds off the lead. So it's close for Asylum, but he's not quite there. And if I was Asylum, there's really no need to push at this point.
Nope.
You've got monstrous cushions on either side of you. You just bring
it
it
home
safe, and you take
bring
that 18
home.
points.
So what I was going to say would say, yeah, you battle Brian with the idea that he's going to get you.
Oh, see that late move from Rockstar,
I
looking
did.
for a gap there.
Yeah.
RC doing everything he can to hang on, and that's given Brian an excellent run down this back straight. This could be it for Brian. His battle for the podium. He's got one lap to go down the inside.
Careful, boys.
Brian on the exit, so cautious.
Careful.
Gets that place. Is it done? Yes, he's got it, I think.
Great
Excellent
battle.
job. Great little battle, yeah. Rockstar was very elbows out there, but nothing dirty. It was all fair.
Yep.
RC's had a very clumsy exit. This could be it for Brian. Into turn one on the final lap. Can he get onto the podium? He sends
He's going for it.
RC runs very deep.
All right, he set him up for this one.
Advantage.
Yeah, he's got him.
Rockstar.
Oh, no. But Brian's got him. Brian has him right there.
Yeah, Brian had him. RC ran a little wide. I would say that he'd have gained an advantage there regardless, so he probably should have let Brian go either way. But right now, RC is now fighting for P4.
Oh, Brian.
Both on very old tires. And say, looking at
RC went wide.
The door. RC slammed the door on Say there.
Last lap, I get it.
Yeah, you kind of have to, and you just hope you get away with stuff like that, right? So, Joshua getting that place back. Here comes Say. RC harvesting batteries, been fighting tooth and nail to keep this place. Say gets a really good run out of that. Say got a really good run.
He's got DRS. What's he gonna do? Go to the outside? Not gonna happen.
RC just parks it. RC
Not gonna
parked
happen.
it in the center of the corner. Oh no! They both had a bad exit. RC hangs on. He's lucky Say had a bad exit too, because that gave him the cushion he needed to bring it home. And he's run wide again. Oh my goodness, Say on the final corner.
He got him. Oh, it's a drag race. It's a drag race.
Unbelievable.
Oh,
what a finish. What a finish. RC loses out by less than a tenth.
Oh, my word. 6,900.
Unbelievable.
Great stuff. Great stuff if you're Say, not so great if you're RC, but the racing was awesome.
Oh, that was incredible. What a great finish of the race. And Brian with a hell of a drive. Driver of the day, no doubt. Third place. He did 2 stops. He pit to the medium and the soft, and he ended up in third. Say and RC with the battle of the century. RC ran onto the grass in the final turn, and it ruined his exit and allowed Say to get the corner.
So, yeah, so I'm looking at the stops here. Say stopped 3 times.
Oof.
The timing
after that one.
The timing was pretty good. Well, you know what? I hope that this is the way that the entire Tier 1 season goes. Actually, Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3.
Yeah.
But that was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it's super unfortunate for certain people, and things didn't quite work out the way they want. We unfortunately didn't get Jinnit a lot of airtime. Obviously, running out front for most of the race once Puff had his mistake. But yeah, a hell of a drive from Jinnit. Great job. He got that win, and he's back on form. And we got the Tier 1 podium here. Jinnit.
That doesn't look like Jinnit at all.
No. So yeah, Jinnit on the top step. Asylum with a really, really excellent P2 finish. Great job from Asylum. And then P3 for Brian Scott with a hell of a recovery after the start of tonight. I mean, you see the pace he had. I mean, had he gotten anywhere in that top 5 for qualifying or the sprint, I think he'd have won this race or been damn close to it. But it's a nice haul for Jinnit. 5 points in the sprint, 25 in the race. That's 30 points for Jinnit tonight. Asylum picks up 20 total. That's really solid. Rockstar with 15. Let's we're gonna get these.
Say with 13. Adri with 6 and 4 for 10. RC Red Bull, he's got 10 in the race.
So Puff actually got the fastest lap, and he's outside the points. So there you go, Will. I don't think you need to worry about the fastest lap point, because Puff I don't think is going to earn it, even though he had the quickest lap, and he beat out. I think he beat out Brian's time by a few tenths there. So.
Wow, that was a very good race.
That was intense. All right, so let's get these guys in here. GP, it's 9:27. Obviously, that restart hurt us a bit.
I'll be as fast as I can. One question for each guy.
Yep, gotta make it snappy.
Tell us about your race. How's that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you
I
can
need
come
to
up
be
with,
a little
like,
more. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to get some insight.
Basically, you're just like, here's the microphone. You just go ahead and talk now. Yeah. Come up with a question. I think what you should do is at pivotal moments of the race, make a quick note. And just go, all right, if this person makes the podium, I want to ask them about this. Sorry, it was Jinnit, Asylum, and Brian Scott, right?
Yes.
There you go. Now, Brian Scott will get to air his grievances on the air now. He's fought for the podium, so he can air his grievances with having to restart the session.
So unfortunately for Janet, I'm going to save him for last. I know he's in Europe. And sorry,
I
Janet.
think you can start with Janet. Let him go. Let him go.
All right.
Let him go first.
All right,
Yeah,
I'll start with
so
Janet.
He can pack up and head out.
So we got Asylum.
I've got a bit of time. I've got a bit of
All
time.
right.
All right.
Go 3-1 then.
Yeah, that's the way I like to do it. So do we have Brian in here? I know we have Janet,
not quite
Asylum,
yet. There he is.
and there's
Ready
Brian.
to go?
Cool. Brian, congratulations. That was quite a sequence of instances. What am I trying to say here? The qualifying obviously backfired on you, and then you had to try to make things up in the sprint race, and that didn't work out, and so you were starting from pretty far back in the race. So what was going through your mind, and then how did you get through it and get to where you are here on the podium?
Oh man, yeah. Going through my head, I was just, you could ask Sam, my teammate who I was on party with, I was probably cussing. I was so mad after the restart, after sprint, and how it turned out with getting pushed off track multiple times. And then lap one, getting someone spinning right into me and breaking my wing, not even 5 feet off my start spot. Definitely not great. Not a great start, and kind of ruined the mood. But as time went on, I just figured I had a strategy in mind. It worked out, and I just kind of tried to stick to it and hope that my pace would shine through and that people would make mistakes. And I mean, it worked out in the end. I think to the softs, I was worried, but I saw my pace on the medium, so I figured the softs would work out, and it just happened that I got some good overtakes done.
Yeah, we touched upon that a little bit in the during the broadcast, that keeping your wits about yourself when adversity strikes. You need to kind of keep your focus, because you never know what's going to happen. And so hats off to you, really, because, I mean, you were dealt a bad hand twice tonight, and you came back and found yourself on the podium. So congratulations. Great job. Great race. And again, way to keep your wits about yourself and stay focused and fight your way through adversity and get back to the podium.
Thank you.
And so now we go to, who is it? Asylum? I've never heard of this guy. Asylum, congratulations, buddy. You bring home P2 for New England, buddy. So describe your race for us. Well, yeah, I can recall you were ahead of the two McLarens, and I thought, oh my God, you need to keep My comment was, you're not looking forward, you're looking back, because these guys are on your ass, and you need to make sure that you keep them there. However, at the same time, you need to keep going. Obviously, you need to keep your focus forward. You need to hit your marks and whatnot. So hats off to you, because, I mean, you fought them for quite a while, and you did a fantastic job, and you find yourself on the podium. So congratulations.
Asylum. It says your voice is not being shared. Someone in the chat says your voice is not being shared.
Well, I'm not going to repeat these questions.
All right, you type out your response in the chat. Yeah, type out your response in the chat.
All right.
There we go. It says always allow, so now we got the tail end of this. But,
Well,
yeah,
there you
thanks,
go.
Guys.
Yeah, you'll never be on the podium again. Kidding. All right, so Janet. Congratulations, Janet.
Yay.
Well earned.
I don't think I won last year, did I? And so it's my first win in like over a season.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, because you won a lot when you won the championship, and then last season was just rough times.
Dude.
So,
rough times at the start tonight as well.
Yeah, true.
With the one shot. Started at the back for the sprint, clawed myself to fourth. Happy days. Set myself up nice for the race.
Bigger, you have a question for him?
No, I'm all good.
Right.
Yeah, I was just rolling a joint. People in the chat thought I was getting a pack of chips out. So.
Well. Let's not let him go. Let's not let him go. I thought that maybe you had something for him. So, Janet, was there a point in time in the race where you felt like maybe you missed an opportunity? Maybe you should have not changed to the hards, or, I mean, you know, what was going through your mind during the race? What was that moment in time where maybe you questioned your decision?
No, the safety car, it was at the right time to go to the hards for that strategy anyway. So, but my mediums were less than 30%, and they would have got to lap 20 for me to go to softs. So it didn't mess around with strategy, because everyone else would have pit behind me if seen me going to the pits. No way would they have stopped outside, stopped on well-older mediums under a safety car.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. So they all followed me in. So, and the hard stint was just get a gap, try not to get penalties, accrued 6, and luckily I had a big enough gap for it to not be affected.
Yeah, that's a great feeling to be in the lead, have a safety car, come into the pits, and everybody follows you. You come back out right where you were. Doesn't happen very often, but all right, Janet. Hey, congratulations, buddy. Great win.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations to Asylum and Brian as well. Good job, guys. I'm going to pass it over to our bigga here, our host.
All right, guys. Great race tonight. Excellent finish there with RC and Seye on the line. It was literally a drag race to the finish line. That was a hell of a finish. And good job. Obviously, sorry about the restart, Brian. I know you and I probably could have gone even better had that not happened, but I just.
Me? I had some choice words that I should not say.
It was unfortunate, but I think in a situation like that, we just have to wipe the slate and start over, because I didn't know who the hell was affected by it. And it was so crazy. Like, if you watch the beginning of the stream, you're gonna hear me lose my damn mind about how quickly someone readied up. I was fired. I was fired up.
I guess my thing is my big thing was, like, had we immediately restarted and not done a full lap, I think I would have been better with it. But because of the fact that people got then a lap of practice before going into it,
I agree.
It's kind of what pissed me off the most. But yeah.
How are we going to get a hold of everybody in the span of a minute? Like, half the guys are out there on the lap. They're not going to look at the Discord, right? So it's tough. But things like, I don't know. I mean, those decisions have to be made somewhere. So
real quick, if I can interject here for a second.
Yeah.
Brian, again, great. I like hearing that. You were really pissed off, yet you persevered. You kind of kept your emotions in check, so to speak, and you fought your way back. It's not easy to do that when you get really infuriated. You're pissed off. You really try to do a lot. So again, congratulate. Great job. Great job.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
agree.
Thank you as well. for Brian as well. 2 races in T1, 2 P3s.
Yeah,
Yeah, good job,
absolutely.
Brian.
Can you?
Oh man, guys, don't make me cry.
Well, hopefully next week you can
We will
try
do.
to get a better crack at it and not have a stupid restart rob you of a really good qualifying. But yeah, later this week we're gonna have 2 more sprint weekends, Tier 2, Tier 3, Wednesday night, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, respectively, and they will do the one-shot sprint race and the 50% race, same format as tonight. And then next week we are off to, where are we going next week? I know it's in order. Imola next week, yes.
Imola.
All right, so we are off to Imola for the race next week. That will be 8 p.m. Monday night. You'll catch me and GP here. Hopefully we can get our streaming issues sorted out with the rest of the guys for Wednesday and Thursday. You can catch that on the YouTube channel here, and we should have a full broadcast for you of both race sessions. So tune in then, and we'll catch you next week. Have a great night, everybody. All right.
All done, Bigga?
I'm all done.
Cool. That was a lot of fun.
It was really fun.
That was a lot of fun.
If
A
you
lot of
listen to the start of my stream, Bigger, I was like, literally can't breathe because you're kicking off like going so much.
Oh, yeah.
He's crying in the park.
I'm about to go rewatch it because I want to see it.
Yeah, you guys. I'm sure there's going to be some audio clip that is going to be used every time someone screws something up. Are you fucking kidding me? Stuff like
The
that.
thing is,
I went off.
We got everyone in our party, and RC like straight away goes, "Oh, I've picked default setup," and we didn't clock on like that. He readied up. We just thought he picked default. We didn't think like about it being one shot.
Yeah.
And RC readying up early, and then it kind of fucking hit us like when RC said it may have been him.
It was like instant. Like as soon as we logged in, I was like, okay, good. There's no timer at the top, and then it was like, oh, 30 seconds. I was like, oh my
Somebody's
god.
readied up.
Yeah. I spent about 2.5 minutes just popping off. Probably actually about 3.5 minutes popping off. Yeah, because I was still kind of going even though we were restarting. Anyways.
I think the funniest
I'll
thing
leave it to you.
is that so
Yeah,
I'm looking
see ya.
at my recording.
Yeah, guys.
Not, dude. I'm looking at my recording. About 30 seconds to a minute in, and I'm already screaming my head off.
What? Because of
Because of the restart?
No, not even. I didn't get the restart recorded because I was just like, I deleted it immediately. I was like, I don't need to look back on this. But no, because off the line, I get in a great start, and Simo next to me just spins right into me, breaks my front wing, and spins me.
Oh.
you know what? When I was watching the start and I saw GP's like, oh, 2 cars have collided back there, and I looked down at the list, and I was like, oh no, it's Brian. Brian's having an aneurysm back there. He's gonna be so mad.
Oh my god, I feel Sam is a trooper for sticking up with me in that whole race.
Yeah.
Because immediately, for at least the first lap, I was just actually that's why first 5 laps I was just belligerent yelling. I was so mad.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, it just looked like it was just piling on at that point. I was just like, Jesus Christ, Brian's gonna like DM me and call me a moron, and he's gonna be so fucking mad. You restarted it. Why did you do that?
Yeah, to be fair, Brian, you go watch the stream, and Biga is very much apologetic. Not that it's his
terrible.
fault. Yeah, it was like that. It sucks that Brian has basically the biggest loser in this situation. I mean, it's unfortunate, whatnot. So, but we're very sympathetic to your position, and unfortunate, and so, but even more so, glad to see. That's why we're glad to see you in the on the podium.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. For about 75% of that race, I wasn't paying attention to position, and then I looked up maybe at lap 20. Actually, right when I was behind Asylum, on lap 22, I looked up and I saw I was at P3, P3, and I was like, when did this happen?
Well,
All right, guys, I'm gonna head out.
Yep. Again, Brian, great job. I mean, we talked about there during the stream, the being able to keep your focus when shit like that happens to you. It's not easy. You get very angry, passionate, and you try to do too much. Perhaps try to do too much. So, again, Big and I talked about that in the race. So, the fact that you were able to kind of plow through that and make your way back. I mean, you're obviously fast, and but however, emotions can get in the way of that, and you didn't let it. And what you just said now is very insightful for me, anyhow. That you didn't even know what lap it was. You just kept your head down, and you were just trying to, move forward. So that's awesome. That's awesome. That's really what everybody needs to do. I know that it's not easy. You get pissed off, and maybe you want to fucking dive bomb somebody to try to get a position back, but that's not the way to do it. So.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm going to let you go. I'm sure I'll be interviewing you again.
Hopefully, we'll see.
At some point. All right, congratulations, Brian. Talk to you later, bud.
Thank you. See ya.
See ya.